Hello guys, and welcome to this video session where I'm going to be giving you a top-down analysis on Gbpusd. So we usually do daily updates on Gbpusd, but today I've decided to show you a whole big picture of what we can see on Gbpusd today. So looking at these charts, we can see on the monthly that Gbpusd has been in a downtrend for quite a long time. So we still have it, our overall trend on the monthly flowing to the downside, but we can see that the monthly candle which we have here is pulling to the upside. That is a bullish candle. So this is the monthly candle, and we are left with 5 days, 13 hours for this monthly candle to close. And from the way we are looking at it, it is going to close bullish. So we've seen price come down to this support area, and it's being pushed back to the upside. So the next resistance area where we have here is at 1.40,000, and that is where we are expecting price to come up on the monthly. So if you are a swing trader, this would have been a good trade for you to take from here and have your take profits at 1.40,000. So that is what we are looking at on the monthly time frame. And so I'm going to keep putting my key structures, and I'm going to start with marking out my support and resistance areas. You have to know that support and resistance areas are areas in the market where the market has reacted on several times, or at once, or at least several times. So I usually like to zero down on my key levels to make them fall on round numbers, that is psychological numbers. So that's why you see me here. I will try as much as possible to zero down on these numbers. So after I put in that level, I want to make sure that it's on exactly the psychological number that I want it to fall on. So if you can see from here, we've seen price come down, react to it from here, come again, react to it, broken, retested, broken, and retested again. So these are my immediate levels. We have different levels that have been created up here, but I'm looking at the immediate level where price is acting upon. This is one way in which I keep my analysis very simple, and it also helps me not to have a lot of things looking at in the market. So this is my next level that I'm going to set here. Consider that is the area from which the market has recently reacted on and is being pushed to the upside. So if you can see clearly, those two round numbers are the numbers on which price has been playing upon on the monthly time frames. So I have these key levels marked out already, and I know that this is the next level where price will be heading to. We've seen price come here, gets pushed up, come again, and it's being pushed up again. So what is this telling me? This is telling me that this is a support area where we have a lot of buyers sitting at this level that are willing to push the market, and we have seen price acted upon this level a couple of times. We've seen it acted here, acted here, acted here, here, and now here. So this is where we currently are on price movement. All right, so before you do your analysis, like I always tell my students, you need to first of all answer a couple of questions before you start doing your analysis. The first question is, in which direction is price moving to right now? If you can tell which direction the market is moving to, then you will be able to do your analysis more clearly. Is price moving to the downside? Is price moving to the upside? Is price in a consolidation? So we can consider this area right here like a consolidation period within this downtrend, because we have seen price come, reacted, and though it break a little bit below here, we saw it get pushed back to the upside, and it continues to trade within that consolidation. So right now on GBPUSD, the overall trend is to the downside, but within trends you can also find consolidation, moments in which the market will be bouncing off parallel support and resistance, and that is what we are seeing here. So we have price on the monthly moving to the downside, but within the downtrend we have price again consolidating between parallel resistance and support. So the next thing that you have to ask yourself is, which type of analytical method can I use in this market at the moment? So when price is in a downtrend or when price is trending, you can use trend lines. You have to know that for you to be able to use your trend lines perfectly, price needs to be trending. You cannot best use trend lines when the market is consolidating. So the first question you ask yourself is, which direction is market going to right now? After figuring out the direction in which your market is going to at the moment, you need to ask yourself, which analytical method can I use to analyze the market? Like, there are various and there are thousands of ways in which you can analyze this market, but I choose to go with the simple ones. I choose to go with the easy ones. That's why you see my name is Easy Forex. I like it easy. I like it in such a way that I can teach anybody this Forex and they are able to understand it. So like I told you, I like to zero down my support areas, my resistance areas to round numbers. That is my horizontal. So now I know that price is in a downtrend, so I can use trend lines for this market. So I will introduce my trend line, and I want to begin my trend lines from where I have the highest, or the where I have the highest area where the market lastly visited. So this is the origin of the move. So the last area where the market lastly visited, or you can call it the origin of this move, or this downtrend that we are seeing right now, this is where it originated from. So this is the origin of the move. So I need to get my trend line to start from that origin before going through all these areas. So if I get it from here, when I get it from here, the next area where I will be looking out for is the next high that was created on when market was moving to the downside. So this is my next major high that has been created as price was moving down. And one thing you can also note is that this area here has been disrespected. So I need to get my trend lines to have exact touches on these areas so that I can have more accuracy with my analysis. Alright, so when I have this trend line drawn in, I can see that the market came here, reacted from it, and then dropped. And when we saw price come again to this level, it did not quite react from that area. So we saw it push a little bit down again. We saw it push a little bit down from here and then break above, creating this new high from here. So now I have a new high that has been created from here, and I cannot underestimate this high. So I need my trend line again to pass above that high, and I cannot underestimate this trend line from here, because from here we saw price break and then retest this trend line and the support area for it to continue to go to the upside, and that is good confidence for me. An area of support, zero down to a round number, and also a trend line from the monthly. So that is good confidence for me to buy off from that area, giving me a good break and retest. So like I was saying, we also have a new high that has been created here. So I need my next trend line to pass above this high. So what am I going to do? Either I blur this trend line, or since this trend line has been used, I can also shift this trend line to update it right to here. I can also introduce a new trend line to this area. So it depends on you. It depends on if you want your charts to have many trend lines or you want your chart to have only a few trend lines. For me, I would prefer to remove the trend lines, but I always have in mind that there is a trend line that was there. So since we are doing this for learning purpose, I'm going to leave it there so that you can also see it and you can also follow them up on your chart. So this is the next area where price got to. Once I saw this area get created from here, this new high creates from here, I will not hesitate to get my trend line to pass above this area. And you see what happens. We see price again push up and then reacts from that trend line again. So if we would have not updated these trend lines, we would have not been able to have this other buy, this other sell from here. Sorry. So when using your trend lines, you need to understand that the market will always create new structures as it moves on, and your purpose or your work is for you to update those trend lines, update your areas of value as price moves on and creates new levels. So that's why we had to update this trend line from here, and you can see that it is still this trend line that has held the market from going above this area. And if you did not have this trend line drawn in when price came created this level, we would have missed this other sell from here, which took price to the downside for about 1, 2, 3 and 4 months. So that is a big move on the smaller time frames. Alright, so I have my two trend lines drawn in. On the monthly, I have my key support and resistance areas drawn in. So what do I do next? I go down to smaller time frames to see how price has been reacting on this area. So you have to remember that as price continues to move above or below, that is how I will keep on updating my area. So if I see price comes down, starts coming down, I'm coming down to update my support areas. I'm coming down or I'm going above to update my resistance areas. Alright, so the next thing that we do on our top down analysis is that I will move to the 1 week time frame. On the 1 week time frame now, I'm going to look at how price has been reacting to my areas, and we can zoom out to get a bigger view to see how candles have been forming on it. Remember, these candlesticks are the language of the market, and if you cannot read candlestick patterns, you cannot read chart patterns, then you should go back and do that. I think the next video that I'm going to do will be centered around those areas. So when I come down to my 1 week time frame, I want to also make sure that my trend lines have the recent touch that I have here. So this is where we have our recent touch here. So I make sure that I have that touch. So this is the area where we have our recent touch around this area. So I make sure that my trend line has an exact touch on this area. So when I have these areas like that, it gives me more accuracy on my in my analysis. So what can we see on the weekly chart again? We can see that price left from this area, got pushed right down to here, reacted nicely from this area and got pushed back to the upside. And from there we've seen price come, react to this area, react again, then react again. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take away this trend line for now. I think you have already seen how we have acted upon that trend line. So I don't want my charts to be too tight with a lot of things. So one thing that I would have done on this thing, or one thing that I did also, is once I've seen price come here, create this level from here, then I have my trend line here, and I ask myself, why don't I just update this trend line to this recent high, and let us update it, and you see how price comes back and reacts to it. Okay, now I have my update. You see, now I have my updated trend line. So that's why I'm telling you that it is good for you to update your trend lines, and also you can build a total strategy around trend lines which works perfectly. So you just need to understand trend lines. Trend lines, I'm telling you guys, works perfectly. It works like magic. Within every price movement, from all that I have been doing, from my back testing and from all the work I've been doing on this pair, so this is the one pair that I have really studied and worked on it for a very long time, and I intend working on it for a very long time. I intend to zero down all my energy on this pair. I don't care what other pairs are doing, but as long as I can understand this pair, I know that this pair can give me at least a couple of trades per day. It can give me at least a couple of trades per day. And I have been following up the pair for quite some time now. And so I can really understand how it works. And I can really understand how my trend lines work on them. So look, see, this is what we call now trend line art. You see, as I'm updating my trend lines and getting those good touches. So once I saw price come up, create this high, gets pushed to the downside, comes back, creates this high, and eventually I see price break above this area. What I just need to do is move the old trend line which was passing from here to pass above this high from here. And what do you see from here again? We see it create an area of confluence around this area. You see how price moved up, reacted from there, got pushed back to the downside, and you see how nicely it reacted from here. So guys, don't joke with trend lines. Don't joke. The secret of forex trading on the chart lies in these trend lines. All the other factors that you see are just confluences, your fair value gaps, your other blocks, and whatsoever thing is just an added confluence for you to do your analysis maybe more perfectly and for you to get accurate entries. Trend lines have been the oldest method in which these markets have been analyzed, and it works. It used to work, it works, and will always work. So if you can center most of your analysis around trend lines, I'm telling you, you're going to see significant results around your with your analysis and in your trading. So that's why I'm a highly a trend line trader. No matter what other people try to tell me, no matter what somebody else will try to tell me, I base my analysis more on these trend lines because I know how to use them. I have done the work on them, and I can prove to you that they work perfectly. So you see how we got from here. Where does price react? Trend line, right? From here, even though it did not get to this area, but came close to our trend line, and it got pushed again to the upside. So this is a break and retest on the weekly time frame, right? So you see, it did not even get to this trend line, and it gets pushed again to the upside. Look at it from here. Are these not trend lines working? From here, it reacts, push to the downside. From here, comes again, reacts, gets pushed to the downside. Are these not trend lines working? Okay. And so, some people will say trend lines don't work. Okay, look at it again from here. Price comes into this area. Do you see how nicely it reacts from here? And from when price reacts from here, it does not get back to here. Look at the nice confluence that we have again here. Our support area zero down to one psychological number. So psychological numbers are round numbers that you can find on your chart. And why we use these psychological numbers is because uh, most of our market makers usually place their orders around these round numbers. It's like when you go to a shop and when you want to buy something, it's easier for you to go in for prices that are more rounded than in fractions, right? So most of the banks also do the analysis based on these round numbers, and over the years, I've noticed that these numbers work very well on GBPUSD, Also, it works on other pairs, but you need to also backtest them to see if the pair that you trade is actually respect these numbers. So like I was saying, you can always update your trend lines, or you should update them. If you don't update them, you will see price come react to areas where if you would have updated, you would have had good results from there. All right, so now we have our trend line updated. I can leave this one here because I know that if price comes reacts from here, then the next area where I'm waiting for it to react again might be here if this area gets broken. All right, so from our weekly chart we can see that we saw price from here move right up to here, break, retest, comes up again, reacts from here, gets back, then gets pushed back to the upside, and now we see price, it continues to move to the upside. So we saw price come react on this area, and what do we see? Reacting price, we see price reacting from a higher time frame trend line and giving us a a head and shoulder pattern, which is a sign that the market is going to push to the downside. So like I was saying, we have price right now pulling to the upside after reacting to this trend line from here, after giving us a break and retest of that trend line. So what is our next area that we are waiting for? We are waiting for price to get to this area here on the weekly. If it gets to this area and reacts from here, giving us reason that it might continue to push to the downside, then we will be waiting for it to take this trades back to the downside. Or if we see price from here break, then we are waiting for a retest of this our higher time frame trend line for us to get that move right up to the next resistance level here. All right, so now I can start introducing other trend lines to see how it works. So remember guys, these charts, you can use them in whatever way you want. You can play around with them, you can do whatever you want to do with them. You have the total freedom to do whatever thing you want to do with them. So in any way that you can analyze the market and get your good analysis, do it. Do it. So now I have price pushing to the upside, and I can see clearly from here. So we saw price come react from here, and it is pushing to the upside. So I have my area where I can put in my trend line. So here will be my trend line. So this is the latest bottom after the first bottom that was created here was this one. So if I would have just seen price come to this area, react from it like this, gets pushed to the upside. First of all, this is an important candle. This is a bullish reversal candlestick pattern. So I know that it is an important key level where I can be waiting for price to come back to it. So what I can do is I pass my trend line below this our key candlestick. So I have my trend line below that area, and you see how price came again nicely, comes back, reacts to it. So even if you miss this entry from here, you cannot miss it again from here once you already have your trend line drawn in, because we have seen that price is now, even though on the higher time frames, that is the monthly, we have price pushing to the downside. But when we come to the lower time frame, that is the 1 week, we can see that price has been pushing to the upside. So within trends, you have to also note that within a downtrend, you can also spot within a downtrend you can also spot uptrends, and within an uptrend you can also spot uptrends, and this is what we call moments of reversals. Okay, so like I was saying, if you miss this entry from around this area, then and you updated your trend line like you've just seen me do here, excuse me, then you would not have missed this other buy from here. And this buy from here, you see, it never came back again. It continued to push up, push up, push up until it is where it is right now. So since I already have price come below this area, I've already seen price come weak a little bit up below this area, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that my trend line is passing below these lows here, right? You see how I'm applying my trend line at how I am using my trend lines. So if you can use your trend lines perfectly, if you can use your trend lines perfectly, and how do you use your trend lines perfectly? You do the work, you do the work, you retest and test and test and retest again until you know what works perfectly. So what I'm showing you here is what works perfectly, and you can see it also as it works. All right, so I'm going to extend this trend line a little bit here, because right at this area I can see an area of confluence here. So we have trend line confluence at this area. So if I see the market push to the upside and eventually gets back to this area, if it gets back, then I have a good confluence from this area. And if I see it also comes back, push to the downside, then this my trend line is still valid, because I can still use it for both sides of my analysis. I can use it from here, I can use it from whatever point I want to. So I can still get a break and retest of this area. And at this area, it is high confluence. So if I see price come into this price level, I will not even waste time. As long as I see that bullish or bearish candlestick, depending on which direction from which that the market is approaching these areas, I'm going to be either shorting or buying. So I'm shorting if price comes back to the downside and I eventually see it comes up here, and I will be buying if I see price gets to this area. I'll be buying if I see price breaks above this area and eventually comes back and I see it around here. And then I'm just waiting to see the type of candlesticks I'm seeing that will give me reasons or confirmations to buy this market. Then I'm longing this market right back up to here. All right, so you can see how we use our trend lines perfectly, and you see how it works. So the next thing that I can be waiting for here, right here, I can see a good order block that is sitting around this area, and uh, provided the market comes and then reacts into this area and gives us opportunities to short, the next area where I'm waiting to look for my buy again is from this area, because I've seen market acted once, twice. And remember, for your trend line to be valid, it needs to have at least two touches. So we already have our two touches here. We have one touch, two touch. So if I see price gets back to this trend line, this is another buy opportunity for me. If it gets back to here and shows me sign that it's going to sell again from here, this is another sell opportunity for me. All right, so looking at this 1 week chart right now, I can no longer introduce my trend lines. I can no longer introduce any trend lines to the upside or to the downside. But looking at my psychological numbers, where I always expect price to react from it, like I told you, these numbers work like magic on GBPUSD. So this is my next higher level, and you have to note that psychological levels, we have both minor and major psychological levels, and this is a major psychological level. So I'll just double click on it, edit that out, and let it give me that clean area here. So I know that this is my measure, this is the measure, this is the measure resistant area on GBPUSD, because we have seen price react from it several times and from the monthly. So here will be my minor resistant area. If I see price gets to break above this trend line, gets to break above this level, then I'll have more confidence that we are going to see price pull up to this area. But if you see price reacts from here and does not and fails to break above it, giving us signs that it will continue back to the downside, then we'll be waiting for price to get back to here. So around here I already have confluence again. I have this trend line, I have this level, and at times we can see price come weak above this trend line and it will react from this area. So I don't want to miss anything in the market. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to change the colors of this so that I know which one is the major and which one is the minor. So the red red ones are the ones from the monthly, and the black are the ones from the weekly. So we are going to now move to the daily, where we are going to see what price has been doing on the daily time frame. So on the daily time frame, we can also see that price has been reacting and it is pushing up to the upside. We have price here creating a lower low, comes creates a high, comes creates a lower high, comes creates a high that did not break above this high, then comes again, creates another low from here, and eventually breaks to the upside. And we've seen it now continue to create higher highs and lower highs. So on the daily again, I can see an area from here where price has reacted upon, and this is an important candle from here also. This is an important candle because it is a bullish reversal candle, and if you look keenly, you can see from where price reacted upon, it is still a psychological number, which is a round number. See, if I mark it out, then you can see it clearly from there. That is 22,000. Okay, so this is it from here. So let me just mark it out, and you see how nicely price reacted from that level. And this is the level that has been able to push up this market right to where it is right now. So that is the last area where price reacted from, and from then we have not seen price come back to it again. All right, so I have these two areas. I have this area which is a psychological number. I have a good candlestick from there. So here I can get my trend line again. See how I'm applying my trend line at. I can apply that trend line again for it to pass below this my important candlestick level, and also it is on an important psychological round number also. So I get my trend line to pass from there, and also I make sure that I arrange them to have those good touches. So from here I can see I have those good touches. It takes a little bit of time and energy for you to get those areas well marked, but depending on how good you have done your analysis, that's when you can really get those reactions from price. Okay, so I have that level marked out. I will just take away this one for now so that I can have my charts more clean. Looking at it again from the daily, I can see another psychological round number from here, and you can see how nicely price reacted from that level again. So it came, reacted, pushed to the downside, reacted again from here, got pushed to the downside, got broken, and this is the next psychological level where price left, and it has not come back to that area. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to mark out this area that is 24,000. So I have my candlestick on that area, and I'm going to make sure that it falls exactly on that area. So I have it well marked out like that, and we can see from here I have good confluence from here. So when I'm trading and I see price comes into an area where I have my trend line and my psychological level crossing like this, I don't hesitate, because throughout my forward testing and back testing, I've seen that an area where this psychological number meets an important key level such as the trend line, we always have significant price reaction from that area. So what I'll be waiting for, if we see price reverse back to this area, if we see price reverse back to this area, this is my important confluence zone where I'll be looking forward to buying off this market again. So what do I need to see? I need to start seeing indecision candles as price moves down to these areas. So if I see price comes into this area, please excuse me, sorry about that. So if I see price comes into these important key levels from here, and I see it buying off from this area, if I see it give me bullish confirmations from here, either candlestick patterns or chart patterns that is indicating that the market will move to the upside, then I will be looking to buy the market from here. So if I see price comes down to here again, I can consider this as price giving me somewhat uh, a discounted price for me to buy and continue this move to the upside. All right, so the next thing that you need to do next doing your top down analysis is to go down to the next smaller time frame, which is the 4-hour time frame. And if I move down to the 4-hour time frame, I can also uh, update my areas to have those good touches again from this area, right? Like I told you, updating your areas is very important. Updating your areas as price move is very important. So I have these two areas from the daily, and then I can move down to lower time frames and update them on those to get those good touches from there. So from here, where we've seen price react from here, I can get it to pass right below this area. So this is it. See where it passes right below this area. I can also come then update this one so that I have a more cleaner chart. See, getting them to pass exactly below where we have price reacting from. Now I have my good areas where price has reacted from. And okay, on the 4-hour charts, what can I see? I can see another areas in the market where I can still key in my trend line. Okay, so this is my weekly, or this is my daily, this is my weekly, and we have all those good trend lines that I will be waiting for price to come, either to react to give me a buy or to break and retest. So you have to always note also that price can do anything. It's not because you have these areas drawn in that you'll be expecting that price will come and do exactly. Like I always tell my students, expectations in the market is what you should remove from your mind. You should not have any expectations in this market. You always want to wait for price to act, then you react. So wait for price to come into these important key levels and then give you those signs that it is going to do like this or do like that for you to be able to react from those areas. So here I can also see important levels where I can get in my trend line. So I hope you are following up on the trend line ads. So please guys, if you're enjoying this video, if you've enjoyed this video so far, please click on the like button, comment and share. Also, don't forget to click the notify me button so that you don't miss out on any of our content when we post them. So I have this area here where price has reacted on. So this is the first area where price reacted upon, and after that we've seen that trend line get disrespected, and this is the next best area for me under here where we have this week. So this is the latest area that has been able to push the market right up to here. So I'm going to get my trend line to pass on that latest area. So remember I told you in the beginning, I always need to have my trend line, or I always want to have my trend lines passing from those recent areas. So this is what I have right now. I have these good areas from here where price has been reacting from it. So there are various ways in which you can apply your trend lines to this chart. There are various ways. I can still use a different method using still trend lines to apply to this same analysis, and you see that it gives us the same movement from here. So from here, when you are entering the market, you also need to know areas in the market where you need to get out from it. So it is from the 4-hour time frame where I, as a day trader, will start looking for areas where I can trade off. So here I have good areas from here where the market reacted upon, but since it has not gotten up to that area, we have had it create a new area from here. It has not yet gotten to that area. What I'm saying is these areas are still important. This area is important. This area is important. So this is an area from where I have this trend line. This is the next best area where my trend line can go through. So this is the next best area. This is the second next best area. This is the third best area. So getting into the market also, you have to determine where you need to be getting out of the market. So look at it right now where price is trading at. Price is gradually getting to that area. And remember why I took this area is because this is the recent area where price has reacted upon. This is the recent area that I can see that price reacted on before pushing to the downside. Okay. Around this area also, you can ask me that why did you not get it to pass on this area? All right, you can still get your trend lines to pass below that area. So it all depends on you. It all depends on you and on the way you want to apply your trend line. So I could have still had this area pass here, and what do you see? We've seen price come into it, then it's reacting from it. But the reason why I cannot really get it from here is that I still have some space here. So I still have a low from here, I still have a high from here, and I still have space from here where I would like to see the market get to it and react perfectly. So if we would have had this one earlier on, then you would have seen that price came up to this area. If you would have had this trend line drawn above like this, and you would have seen that price came, reacted from there, then pushed to the downside. One thing you have to note again is that because you see this trend line is a small tiny line like this, it does not mean it's a small tiny line like that. It's actually a zone. That's why you see some people mark out their areas as a zone. So having my trend line here, I know that this area is a zone and price can come, push a little bit or not even get to it. So you need to be open-minded when doing your analysis. One of your greatest weapons in forex trading is that you should always remain open-minded. You should not be so glued to anything in the market, because in the market anything can happen. The market is a dynamic space where anything can happen at any moment. So from here, what do we see from here? What do we see? We have somewhat like an ascending triangle that is happening right here on the 4-hour chart. So if we get price to come into this price level, reacts, comes, break, and then starts going to the downside, we know what is causing this move to the downside. We have our ascending triangle well drawn in. So you can see how I use only simple trend lines and marking out my psychological level to be able to do my analysis from the monthly right down to the 4-hour chart. So the next area that I can see here, my next psychological level where I can see where price reacted to. So take note, pay attention to how these areas have been moving the market also. See, it came, reacted, got pushed to the downside, reacted again from another psychological level. So the next psychological level is 125,000. So I just make sure I have those levels well marked out. And you can see how nicely price came, reacted to it, and now it is pulling to the downside. And now it pushed back to the upside. So that is what I have from my monthly right down to the daily, to the 4-hour chart. So from the other smaller time frames, now I usually look for my trade entries on smaller time frames. So from here now, I really don't have any need again to be putting in a lot of trend lines, but I can still do that. So let us go down to smaller time frame. The reason why I'm doing this is once I start see price disrespecting my areas to the downside, I'm waiting for that break and retest. You can see how nicely my trend lines are playing out from here. You can see how nicely those trend lines are playing out. So let me zoom it out so that you can see them. You can see how nicely they are playing out, right? But at this point, since price has not yet gotten to my area, which is this trend line from here, I cannot really be looking for any trade entries for here to short the market. So until I see price gets to this level, that's when I'll be looking for any opportunity to sell this market. So I still believe that price will continue to move to the upside. We've seen price already broken above this important key level, that is a psychological number, and like I told you, they work very well on Gbpusd. So I have that area again marked out. I've already seen price broken above that area, so it is still giving me confidence that more reasons that price might likely continue to push to the upside. Like I told you, we can still introduce another trend line which will begin from here, my latest low, passing through my latest point of interest, which is this area. It could have seen been through here, but since I've already seen price create this other new level, this is where I'll be interested in having my trend line pass through. Okay, the reason why I'm doing this is because if I see price comes to this my confluence area here, it will give me reasons to buy this market. And remember, price can do anything, and we can see this market, instead of approaching it from the upside, it approach it from the downside. So I already have all my levels marked out. I don't need to be overrunning around again. I'm just waiting for price to react on these areas and give me opportunities to buy or sell. And if we move down to, as we move down to these smaller time frames, can you see again? I hope you're noticing how these psychological levels work on Gbpusd. See, this is it, 25,500. So I'll just update it, 25,500. And you see, it is giving me a distance of 50 pips from here to here, 50 pips from here to here, 50 pips from here to here, 100 pips. So I know that if I take a trade from here and I'm targeting 100 pips, when price gets to this area, this is where I should be getting out. I know that if I take a trade from here and I'm targeting 50 pips, when price gets to here, I should be getting out. So you can use these areas to trade off them, and you can use them to set your targets. So if in the future I also see price comes back to this level and gives me opportunities from here, then I can buy from here or I can short from here. So remember, there are only two things that the market can do. Can either buy or sell. And as the market is approaching my area of value, I'm waiting to see how those candles will react from those areas for me to either get a buy or a sell. So having all these areas marked out also is not a rule of thumb that when price gets into that area, it is going to react exactly as you're expecting them to react. But you see what happens here. Price came up, pushed, break above this level as if there was nothing at this area. But now you see how it reacted from the downside. We see it comes to the downside, gets rejected, and is being pushed back to the upside. So I think from here we are going to see more price movement to the upside, targeting this trend line from here. And if I move down now to my 15-minute time frame, where I'm looking for my trade entries, I will just be waiting for price to come react from that area for me to look for my opportunities to either buy or to sell. So for my 15-minute again, I can introduce my mini trend line. So this was actually on my main chart where I do my analysis. So remember, this is Ohanda, and the best charting platform that you can use on TradingView is FXCM. I'm just using Ohanda now because I don't want to disrupt my analysis that I already have on FXCM. So how I trade is that I do my analysis and I let it be. I let it be like this, and I'm only waiting for price to react from these areas. So from when we started, you can see how nicely trend lines work, how nicely psychological levels work, and it is not something that is magic. It is just simply price action. So for you to be able to take good advantage of this, you must be able to read your candlestick patterns. You must be able to understand the language of the market. So what I'm waiting for at this moment is for price to come into this area, react again, and give me reasons that it is going to continue to the upside, or it comes, breaks, and gives me reason that it will go to the downside. So that is how I do my top-down analysis on any pair, especially on GBP because I told you this is my main currency pair. I've been following up this currency pair for such a long time, and I can tell you exactly when price is about to reverse. I can tell you exactly what price is doing at each price level. So it is not magic. It is just experience. So in the beginning, I allowed myself a lot of time to experience this market, and I'm willing to still give myself a lot of time to experience this market again, so that I can be able to trade this market flawlessly. All right. So if you've really enjoyed this video, please make sure to like, make sure to share, make sure to comment, make sure to subscribe, and if you want to become part of our team, you can join our Telegram group. It is the link is in a description box below. And if you haven't registered for a broker, then I recommend you register for an account with Exness. Exness is one of the biggest brokerage in the world right now, trading about 4.5 trillion monthly and having a monthly withdrawal volume of about 5 billion per month. It has the tightest spreads, and also for those in Africa like me, you can make use of withdrawals and deposits from Momo, which are fast and with no commissions. You can also make use of deposits and withdrawal in crypto, and you can also make use of bank deposits and withdrawals. So it is quite very fast and easy. The Exness platform also is a very simple, easy to use platform that anyone from whatever walk of life can easily navigate. You can find all videos on how to create an account, how to deposit, how to verify, and how to navigate the Exness platform here, how to link it to your MT4, how to do whatever you want to do. You can find all those videos in this channel. All you need to do is search through the videos and you will see them. Alright, so the link to registering with Exness will be found in the description box also, and you can make sure you do that and benefit from the from the high leverage and the low spreads that this broker offers. So that is how I approach the market. That is how I do my analysis. If you love this and you want to get more of this, make sure to join us and make sure to follow us on our social media platforms, where I always make sure I give you back-to-back updates on what is happening on this particular pair, GBP USD. So right now what I'm looking out for is for price to either break below here, then retest, then give us reason to continue right down to this trend line, because this trend line is my immediate resistance again. We can see it come to this area, or we can see it come here. So we can get our trade from here. If we get it to break here, then we'll be waiting to take our first profit from here and our second profit from here. But if we see it react from here, giving us opportunities to buy, then the safest thing you can do is for you to wait for it to break above this our 15-minute time frame trend line, and then retest it for us to go long again on this trade, setting your targets on our next trend line, which is right above here. All right, so that is what I have for you guys, and I hope you get a lot of value from this video. And please don't forget to give us some likes, don't forget to comment, don't forget to share. So see you guys in our next video, where before I go, please you can always comment with what you want us to do a video on anytime, and I will always check those comments personally and do videos on them. So whatever you want us to do videos on, be it other blocks, be it trend lines, be it support and resistance, be it on psychology or whatever thing you want us to do a video on. Make sure to comment in the comment box and I'm going to do that for you guys. So see you guys in our next videos, and I wish you all the best on your trading journey.